is a video on 13C, number 3 and 4. Let's look at number 3 first. It says solve for this domain, okay, negative 80 to 720. So the angles that we're going to give in this question have to be between negative 80 and 720, not beyond in either direction. So here's our first question. Cosine of theta equals 1. As you know, cosine always refers to the x value. So you look at your unit circle and you think, when does x value equal 1? Well, since it's a unit circle, the radius is 1. So this is 1 here, this is 1, this is 1, and this is 1. So 1 can only occur at the 4 major corners there, all right? Because everywhere else in between it's a little bit less than 1. So 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so in that case, x value of 1 can only occur right here. This is a positive x value of 1 because this point is 1, 0. So that's positive x value of 1. So the question is, what angles create 1? And the angles have to be between negative 180 and 720. So here's 1. The only way to get here is, first of all, not to move the angle at all. So 0 degrees is one answer. How else can you get here? Well, you can go around the circle all the way and come back here. So let's try that all the way around the circle. You get right back to there again. So that's 360. And that's still within this constraint here. We can also go around twice. So once, twice, that's 360 and 360 makes 720. So to get here, we can go twice, and it's 720. So 720 is an answer. It's also within this domain that it gave us here. And also, can we get there in a negative direction? This was positive. If we go this way, negative, but we'd have to come all the way. So it would have to be negative 360. But negative 360 is beyond this, what it gave us here. So that's not one of the possible answers within this domain. So there's our 3 answers. Let's go to B. In B, it says sine of theta equals negative root 2 over 2. So we're looking for a y value, because sine means a y value, of negative root 2 over 2. The only place on the unit circle where we have negative y values are below the x-axis. So down here are negative y values, right? Because up here are positive y values, and down here are negative y values. So how do you get to this negative y value? Well, you should recognize this as one of our key points. And root 2 over 2 always tells us there must be a 45-degree angle involved. So to get down here with a y value of negative root 2 over 2, and here's also a negative root 2 over 2. So there's 2 possible points right here and right here that both create a negative root 2 over 2. So how do you get here, first of all? To spin to here will be, we know this is 45 because a 45-45 triangle has root 2 over 2. So this would be 180. And then an extra 45 would get you here, so that's 225 altogether. So to get here, spin of 225, an angle of 225 would work. All right, how about to get to over here? Because this is also a 45-degree angle right here, and that has root 2 over 2. So we can go 180, and then all the way to here. So that's actually almost all the way around the circle. You could go 360, but then subtract 45 would get you here. So 360 minus 45 is, where's that number? Right here, 315. So again, 180 plus an extra bit all the way to here, 315, leaving 45 here. So that's how to get to here and here going the positive direction. We can also get to this one going negative direction, so just negative 45 here would get you to here also. So negative 45. How about in the negative direction to get to here? So to go here, like that, that would be 45 short of 180, which would be 135, so negative 135. To kind of help with this one, since there's so many different spins that can get you there, I drew a separate diagram for each one. So let's just take a look. Again, our goal is to get here or here. So here's negative 45, that gets us there, great. Here's negative 135, that gets us here, because it would be 90 plus 45. Here's 225, so like that, 180 plus 45, 225. Here's 315, so it goes all the way around, almost all the way around to 360, but 45 degrees short, so there's 315. Now, we can get angles all the way up to 720, so let's think about what's beyond 360. So here's this, I'm going around, all the way around 360, and then all the way onwards to here, back to here again, which is this spot. So we went all the way around 360, and then that much more, and that much was 225. So 360 plus an extra 225 is 585. Now let's go all the way around and to this spot. So we go once around 360 and then all the way again up to here. So that's 360 plus that extra, what was that, 315, and that makes 675. Now any other angles beyond there would be greater than the 720 it told us to stay within, so that's all we have. C says sine equals, gives you an equation. I think this is where some students started struggling with these problems a little bit, because now they're just a little bit different. They have equations and squares and so on. So here's sine of theta equals negative cosine of theta. This one, when I look at it, well, it's not really something I can solve right now, so I'm going to move things around because I really want sine or cosine or tangent to equal some number because that can help me. So I looked at this and I said, let's divide this by cos theta and see what happens. So divide both sides. Here's what I get when I divide by cos theta. This ends up being negative 1. All right, negative 1. That doesn't look familiar. It's not root 3 over 2 or root 2 over 2 or 1/2. But sine over cosine is familiar because that's tangent. So I'm going to rewrite that as tangent. And tangent of theta equals negative 1. So what's that is telling us? Tangent is always y over x, right? So y over x must be negative 1. That means you must have two of the same number divided, one of them being a negative. Because that's the only way you'll get 1. So the same number. And the only one of our special angles we've dealt with that gives the same number for y and x is that root 2 over 2. And that occurs when you have angles that are like 45 degrees or so, right? That are 45 degrees. All right, so in other words, I'm looking for root 2 over 2 divided by root 2 over 2 giving a negative. So either the top or the bottom is a negative value. That means either the y or the x is a negative value. So if you look at here, I've drawn the two top triangles in the two possible locations. And why did I choose those? This one, first of all, because it has a negative x value, so negative root 2 over 2, but a positive y value. So if you divided that y and that x, you'd get negative 1. The other location is here, because you have a positive x value, positive root 2 over 2, and a negative y value, negative root 2 over 2. Again, if you divided those two, you would get negative 1. Y over x would be negative 1. So those are our two possibilities. So how do you get there? One way to get to this one is if you spin like this and go to here. Root 2 over 2 is always 45-degree triangle. So that means this must be 45. So this must be 135 because it's 180 minus 45. So 135 gets us here, and then we'll have a tangent of value of that divided by that, which is negative 1. All right, how do we get to this triangle? We spin all the way here, 180, and then beyond 180, we get to here. That is 45 degrees short of 360, so it's 315. So 315 will get us there, and then we'll end up with a y over x being negative 1. So again, I've drawn like these separate circles to show the situations. Here, to spin and get to here is 315, because again, this would be 45 here, and that would mean 315. To get to that spot, let's see, yeah, or to get to this spot here, 135 is one way, so there's 135. But you could also go all the way around and beyond. So here's all the way around, 360, and then beyond over to here. I forgot to draw on the line here, but there it is. So that would be 360 plus the 135, which makes 495. We can also, we have up to 720, right? So we can go around almost twice also. So here's all the way around once, and then beyond all the way to this spot. And that's 360 and almost another 360. But 45 short of that, which is 675. So those are all possibilities. I don't think I mentioned this one yet. To get to this one negative direction, we go negative 45. So there's our negative 45. We can also get to this one in the negative direction. So if you went like this, in the negative direction, it would be 225. But that is beyond our domain, which was said you can only go as low as negative 180. So that one, even though it gets there, I haven't counted it as part of our solution set. All right, hope that's helpful.